Yesterday was Memorial Day. You heard a lot about barbecues, the price of beef, the price of gas as you travel to your family cookout, sales at the mall, the unofficial start of summer, maybe a flyover or a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier. What you probably did not hear is the truth about where this holiday actually came from, because they stole that too. May 1st, 1865, Charleston, South Carolina. The war is over. The Confederacy is defeated. And on the grounds of the Washington Racecourse, a place where enslaved people had been forced to work, where horses ran in circles for the entertainment of slaveholders, there is a mass grave. 257 Union soldiers, men who died in a Confederate prison camp, thrown into the ground, unmarked, unacknowledged, left there like they didn't matter. And the people who decided they did matter, they were black. Freedmen, formerly enslaved people, black Charlestonians who had just watched the country that enslaved them fight a war over whether or not they were human beings. And instead of turning away, instead of saying, "That's not my problem," they showed up. For 2 weeks straight, black residents of Charleston went to that race course and they dug. They exhumed those Union soldiers with their bare hands. They reburied every single one of them with dignity. Individual graves, properly marked. Then they built a fence around that burial ground. Then they built an archway over the entrance. And on that archway they inscribed these words: Martyrs of the Racecourse. On May 1st, 1865, an estimated 10,000 people gathered at that site. Black men, black women, black children, black veterans who had fought in that same war, ministers, community members. They marched, they sang, they prayed, they decorated every grave. 10,000 people, organized by a community that had just been freed from bondage, who had every reason in the world to be consumed by their own survival, chose instead to honor the sacrifice of soldiers who died for their liberation. That was Memorial Day. That was the first one. Yale historian David Blight documented it. The records exist. The newspapers from that era covered it. This is not disputed history. This is buried history. And there is a difference. So, what's the official story? According to the United States Congress, officially designated in 1966, Memorial Day originated in Waterloo, New York, 1866. A year later, different place, different people, different story. And that's the one that went into the textbooks. That's the one your kids are learning right now. That's the one they put on the historical markers. Waterloo, New York. Not the 10,000 black people who built the graves, built the fence, built the archway, and marched before anyone else thought to. Not them. Never them. Now let me be direct with you. This is not an accident. Erasure at this scale is never an accident. This is the same pattern that buried Black Wall Street for 75 years. The same pattern that left the Kerner Commission report on a shelf. The same pattern that took rock and roll, born in Black America, and handed it to Elvis Presley. That took jazz, that took the blues, that took cornrows and called them boxer braids. That took trap music and put it in commercials. That took Juneteenth and made it a federal holiday with a logo on a cell at Target. They find what black people build, what black people create, what black people originate, and they sand off the fingerprints. Then they hand it back to you repackaged, rebranded, sanitized with someone else's name on it. Memorial Day is not the exception. Memorial Day is the example. 10,000 black Americans created a sacred observance to honor the dead. And this country took it, moved it, renamed the origin, pointed you toward Waterloo, New York, and then had the nerve, the absolute nerve, to spend the next 160 years telling black Americans that their contributions don't warrant acknowledgement, that reparations are too complicated, that we need to stop living in the past, You built the holiday. You dug the graves. You raised the archway. And they couldn't even leave you that. Every year when they tell you to thank a veteran today, remember who built that tradition of doing exactly that. Remember who showed up with shovels and dignity when no one else did. Remember Charleston, May 1st, 1865. And remember that what was stolen can always be reclaimed, starting with the truth. Watch the pattern. Let's understand the factual history of this country, and let's ask better questions. I'm Keith, and this is Keith Speaks.